Conservative New Media viewers, JLin fans around the world, Charlotte Hornets fans around the world, what's up? It's me, PFA, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert, and we're here to discuss Charlotte's 87-76 loss today to the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta, Georgia. With the defeat, Charlotte falls to 30-28 on the season, and they drop to 11-19 on the roads this year. Now, coming into this game, Atlanta and Charlotte each had the same number of losses, which was 27. Atlanta was in 5th seed position for the playoffs, whereas Charlotte was in 7th seed. So had Charlotte been able to win this game, they could have kind of pulled down Atlanta a little bit and maybe moved up a spot or so in those standings. Also, Charlotte came into this game at 4-1 on their current 6-game road trip, and they had won 8 of their last 10 games, which was the best in the Eastern Conference through all of the team's last 10 games. So the Charlotte came in on a roll. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get it done today, and the reason why that happened was they could not shoot the ball in the first half. They shot 22% in the first half of this game. That is unreal. And it was particularly bad in the first quarter when they were outscored 25-9. So they were minus 16 in that first quarter. And looking at the scores, at the quarter-by-quarter scores right now, they actually won or tied in the remaining 3 quarters of the game. So it just all came down to that first quarter. Also, Charlotte made a comeback. They made several comebacks in this game. In the fourth quarter, they got the lead down to 7 points. And then, unfortunately, they had a turnover. Atlanta hit a 3, and then another play in Atlanta scored another 2 points. That put the Hawks up 13, and that was pretty much it. But I said this on Twitter, and I'll say it again now. When you have these afternoon games, and this game started at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, a lot of times you can get things like this, and where a team just looks horrible, or they can't shoot the ball, or something just looks way, way wrong. The reason for that is because, and I'm not making excuses for the Hornets, the reason for that is guys aren't used to playing that early. And so it's like it throws off their biological clock. Okay? So it's like that would be the biggest way I would explain what happened in the first half, and particularly in the first quarter. They're not used to playing at that time. And earlier today, the Cleveland Cavaliers got totally decimated by the Washington Wizards, and I think it was the same type of thing. They just had no energy. They had nothing. And Patrick Ewing, the assistant coach, said at halftime of this game that, we had no energy. And I think it's because guys just are not ready and not used to playing at that time of the day. And you could see it in the statistics. Let's go over the game statistics quickly here. Kent Bazemore, 14.6 rebounds for the Hawks. He made very, very timely plays for Atlanta, and every time Charlotte made a run, it seemed like Kent Bazemore did something positive for the Atlanta Hawks to hold off Charlotte. Al Horford, 13 points, 16 rebounds. Paul Millsap, 13 points. Jeff Teague, 10 points. Tim Hardaway Jr. off the bench, 11 points. Charlotte was led by Marvin Williams, 16 points, 9 rebounds. None of the rest of the starters had double-figure scoring. In fact, nobody else on the team had double-figure scoring besides Marvin, except for JLin. So guys just shot the ball poorly. Kemba, 3 of 15 from the field. Even Marvin himself was 6 of 18 from the field. There is one exception, actually 2. Courtney Lee, 3 of 6 from the field for 9 points. He played well. Jeremy Lamb, 4 of 8 from the field for 9 points. JLin, 15 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. He played 21 minutes, shot 4 of 7 from the field, including 1 of 3 from three-point range, 6 of 7 from the free throw line, no steals, 1 block shot, 1 turnover, 4 personal fouls, and Jeremy's plus-minus was a -10. How did Jeremy play in this game? Just from an overview, because I think I will do quarter by quarter today. He played well. The one issue that he had was in the first half, he had a couple sequences in a short period of time where he got beaten on when he was playing defense by Dennis Schroeder of the Hawks, who was one of these very fast, smaller guards. And because of that, I think that Coach Clifford took him out of the game, took Jeremy out of the game, even though Jeremy was, at that point in time, he was the only person doing anything on offense for Charlotte. However, Jeremy played very good defense in the second half. He ended up playing the full fourth quarter, so that means he was part of the finishing group, which we've talked about in these different videos, whether Jeremy's going to be part of that or not. And he played fantastic in the fourth quarter of this game. He was Mr. Fourth Quarter, and I know that there are definitely JLin fans out there and who think that if Clifford had played Jeremy more, then this game might have gone differently. And I'm inclined to agree with that based upon how Jeremy was playing. Yeah, he wasn't super sharp on defense at first, but a whole bunch of other people weren't either. Am I really upset about it? No, because Jeremy played great in the second half and he finished out the game. And Courtney Lee played well in this game. So Clifford still made the decision that, hey, Jeremy's on a roll and I'm going to stay with him, even though Courtney Lee had played pretty well. So, what I like about Coach Clifford is he's fair. I think he's more fair than some of the other coaches that Jeremy has dealt with as regards Jeremy and playing time. Now, Clifford has his own mindset, meaning he prefers defense over offense, and he might value certain players more than others. So he might see Kemba as more valuable than Jeremy. But within those constraints, he's pretty fair. If you play well, you're going to stay on the court. If you play well on defense, in particular, you're going to stay on the court. If you don't play well on defense and you're not one of the 1 or 2 or 3 favored people, you're coming off the court. So what I liked is Jeremy played great in the second half. He played great on defense, and Clifford kept him in, even though Courtney Lee had played well up to that point. So you can deal with coaches and their rotations as long as you know what they're going to do and why they're going to do it, because then you can adjust your performance. Okay, I need to play more defense, and I do it, then I'll stay on the court. And that's what Jeremy did in the second half, and he also played really good offense. So I can handle that. And I'm sure I was surprised Jeremy played as few minutes as he did in the first half. He played only about 8 minutes or something, 9 minutes maybe. But again, he played the entire fourth quarter and a little bit of the third as well. So, okay. As far as the game overall, and as I mentioned, I will do quarter by quarter here in a second. So we talked about how Jeremy did overall. We talked about what happened in the game. In terms of my mindset with this game, like, oh, they lost and all that, I'm not totally surprised because it's an afternoon game. I'm not totally surprised because it's the last game of a long road trip. Still, the Hornets finished 4-2 on this road trip, which is out of this world for how poorly they've played on the road this season coming into this road trip. So it's still a successful road trip. And looking at the schedule, the Hornets now have 8 of their next 9 games at home. And the run that's on the road is against Philly, who's the worst team in the league. So all of those games, all 9 of those games are winnable games. Now, there's some are tougher than others, but I'm okay. We got the loss today, but you go home, lick your wounds, and get ready for this homestand and start racking up the victories. This is where the Hornets really need to get serious about playoff, not only making the playoffs, but playoff positioning. They're still 2 games above 500 after today. So I'll take it. I'll take the road trip. I'm not whatever. And look, as a JLin fan, I'm thrilled because Jeremy played great today. I think he was. I was looking at efficiencies, kind of get a sense of the different players. Jeremy had the second best efficiency behind Marvin Williams, but he played fewer minutes, and they're correlated. You play more minutes, usually your efficiency goes up. So for the number of minutes Jeremy played today, he was the most efficient player. So, like I said, okay, team didn't have it. They couldn't shoot in the first quarter. Jeremy played well. Jeremy finished the game. And we're going home after a 4-2 road trip. So I'll take it. That's why I'm not going to be too upset about today. And actually, I'm happy because of the way Jeremy performed. What else was I going to say on that same type of point? Look, yeah, what was nice about the team was that they fought back. They were down a ton in this game. They were down, I think, about 20 points, maybe 22 points. But they kept hanging in. They didn't give up. And they did give themselves a chance to win this game. Actually, now thinking about it, they did get the lead down to like 2 or 1 points. I don't know if they ever took the lead themselves, but they certainly cut the lead down to where they actually had a real chance to win this game, even though they couldn't do anything in the first quarter, and even though they got down by 20-some points. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign in the team. Now, there's something else on my mind. I just cannot remember what it is right now as regards just kind of the team and things overall. Yeah, this being 2 games over 500, I know what it is. The Hornets now have about the same amount of home and road games left. So where are we at right now? This is game 58. So there's 24 games left. And I think it's about 12 home, 12 road. And for a while, they had way more home games than road games. And so some people felt that, well, maybe they're just not that good. Once they go on the road, they're going to lose a whole bunch. Well, that hasn't happened. And so now, like I said, you are able to play better on the road, but now go home and win as much as you can. And then you're going to have a fantastic chance to make the playoffs. And you can even get better seeding position from there. Like I said, this does nothing to dent my feelings about the team or about where they're at, how they're developing, etc. The team is better. Getting Courtney Lee helps. They're basically healthy, except Al Jefferson's still working himself back from the knee. Spencer Hawes is out right now with the back, and of course Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is out. But not considering Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, team's pretty healthy. I like the 9-man rotation, and I guess we still have to work out who's going to be the finisher, whether it's going to be JLin or Courtney Lee. And you could also throw Jeremy Lamb in there, although I think that Clifford seems more inclined. It's either going to be JLin or Courtney Lee. And this is the 4th game with Courtney Lee on the team. Jeremy has finished 2 of the games. 1 game was a blowout. And then 1 game, which was the last game, Courtney Lee finished. And I actually heard Steve Clifford talk after that game, and he said he was really concerned about Monte Ellis, which is kind of what I figured, and that might have been the reason why Courtney Lee was in there to defend against Monte Ellis. So we'll see. Again, nobody's asked Clifford about it, so we still don't know what he's thinking in terms of finishing, but if you're a JLin fan, certainly today was a good day because Jeremy was part of that package today. Okay, let's do a little bit of quarter by quarter because we want to talk about what Jeremy was doing in this game. He first came into the game with 4 minutes and 35 seconds left in the first quarter, and the score at that point in time was 14-4 Atlanta. As I said, if Charlotte could not make a basket in that quarter, it seemed like. Jeremy shot and missed his first attempt, which was from 3-point range. It was off the dribble, kind of like straight on, almost from the top of the arc. A little bit short, a little bit to the right. Then he got his first foul of the game. Then he was fouled attacking the basket. What happened at this point in time, and when he got fouled, I think the team was down I want to say 20-4. So they were already down 16 points. They were shooting 1 for 18 from the field. And so what I think Jeremy got in his head was, you know what, I got to take over because nobody can shoot and nobody can score. And so Jeremy got aggressive, went to the basket, got fouled, made both free throws. That made the score 20-6. And then soon after that, Kemba Walker passed him the ball, and Jeremy shot and hit a three-pointer from about 55 degrees left of the top of the arc. We've been talking recently in these videos about JLin's shooting form and whether he does the hop, whether he steps into his shot or shoots it just standing still. I honestly could not see from the angle of the camera what he did on that shot. It looked like he shot it standing still, but you couldn't see his legs. So it's possible that he hopped into it. I don't know, but whatever it was, it certainly looked good, and it went right through the basket. He might have done a hop, I'm not sure. Jeremy, after the first quarter, 5 points, 1 rebound, 0 assists. Now we headed into the second. Again, we start this quarter with Charlotte down, 25-9 or something like that, I believe. And I made the note that says, Charlotte's moving the ball, they're just missing shots. So this is, again, the early game theory in my mind. They just couldn't hit a shot, even though they were getting some pretty wide open shots. And they were swinging the ball. This wasn't ISO ball. This was a lot of moving the ball, but guys just simply couldn't get the ball to go through the basket. Early in the second, Jeremy was fouled, again driving to the basket, and he just, with the intention of, I'm just going to go super hard and hopefully I'm going to get fouled or I'm going to get layups easy. We need more aggression because we can't score right now. Missed the first free throw, made the second one. That had the score at 27-12 for Atlanta. Then this started this little sequence of difficult defense for Jeremy. Dennis Schroeder drove by him and got a layup and a foul. The foul was on Jeremy. That was his second personal foul of the game. And then soon after that, Jeremy drove towards the right side of the basket. He missed the layup. He thought he was fouled. You could see him throw his hands up. No call was there. So again, the intention of Jeremy at this point in the game was, I'm going hard to the basket and looking for fouls to kind of get us back into this. No foul. Atlanta went down the other way. And then soon after that play, Jeremy was defending Schroeder, and Schroeder cut back door on Jeremy, received the pass, and he did not score, but like he passed to a man, and that led to a layup. That little sequence there, that's what led to JLin being pulled out of the game, in my opinion. Was it fair? I don't know. Maybe Clifford was thinking, he might have been thinking, look, Jeremy's attacking the basket right now. Maybe that's not what we want to do. Maybe we want to swing the ball around more rather than just go hard to the basket. I thought what Jeremy did was fantastic because somebody needed to do something in terms of scoring the ball. He and Clifford might have thought, well, Jeremy's focusing hard on offense right now and getting fouled, but maybe his defense is a little slipped right now. And to be fair, Atlanta was shooting the ball really, really well. They shot like 56% in the first half. So Clifford, being a defensive coach, might have thought, okay, Jeremy's scoring, but we need more stoppers to get Atlanta kind of out of rhythm. So whatever the case was, Jeremy came out of the game earlier than he usually would in the second quarter, and I do think he was pulled for the defense. So that is what happened, okay? He comes out of the game with, 9 minutes and 11 seconds left early in the second quarter. So that certainly isn't when he normally comes out. He comes out a lot. He gets more playing time than that, okay? But I think Clifford was, I said to somebody on Twitter, I don't think this was the best coach game that Clifford's ever had, at least as regards Jeremy, but I'm not upset about it because of everything I said previously in terms of 4-2 on the road and et cetera, et cetera. So it happens. I mean, it's the way it goes. Okay. They also mentioned on a graphic, middle of the second quarter, after Marvin Williams hit a three-pointer, that Charlotte has now hit 592 three-pointers this season, and that is a franchise record. So that's pretty cool. Then I put late in the second, Kent Bazemore is destroying Jeremy Lamb. So what happened to Jeremy Lin against Dennis Schroeder was happening even worse with Kent Bazemore and Jeremy Lamb, whereas just Bazemore was doing whatever he wanted on offense, essentially. And Jeremy Lamb, not always the best defender in the world, in my opinion. And so soon after Kent Bazemore did a couple things, then Courtney Lee came back into the game for Jeremy Lamb. In fact, that might have, when Jeremy Lin came out, he might have been replaced with Jeremy Lamb, although no, I don't think he was. I think he was replaced by, Kemba. So that's the way that Clifford thinks, okay? Kemba's my guy. Kemba's the guy that's going to, whenever Clifford doesn't know what exactly is going on with the team, whenever Clifford wants to get things moving, he plays Kemba. And again, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I in this game, I don't think it was right. But that's what he does. And so, Jeremy out, Kemba in. Kemba had his own struggles on defense in this game. So, like I said, Clifford is fair, I think, but he does have his favorites. And Kemba's one of his favorites. Kemba's one of the guys, along with Al Jefferson, that Clifford relies on. And if I've just had to say it was only one of those two, I would say Kemba. So Kemba is kind of the security blanket for Clifford. And Kemba played 42 minutes in this game of 48 minutes. So that's a whole bunch. And that's how Clifford is. And look, Kemba has had a great year. But he didn't perform well in this game. But if a decision is going to be made, and it's you versus Kemba, Kemba's going to win. And that's what happened, I think, to Jeremy there early in the second quarter. So we went to halftime, 46-32, Hawks up by 14. Jeremy had 6 points, 1 rebound, and no assist there at the half. Heading into the third quarter, I made a note that said Kemba Walker went under a screen and Jeff Teague just hit a three-pointer against him. So if you're playing against a shooter and a pick is set for the shooter, you have to go over the screen. That lets less room be there for the shooter to shoot. Kemba went under the screen and Jeff Teague drilled a three. So like I said, Kemba had his struggles in this game too. It's just Clifford's going to play him. I mean, that's just the way it is. Okay. Jeremy came into the game late in the third quarter. He came into the game, score was 64-53, a minute 53 seconds left, and a timeout was taken, and Jeremy came in. I don't know who he came in for. I didn't write it down. I don't think he came in for Kemba. I think he might have come in for Courtney Lee, The starters had done pretty well in the third quarter, giving them credit. They had cut the lead down and made a mark. And made a push. And so I think Cliff tried to stay with them, except for I think Al Jefferson came in earlier in the third quarter. So he played the starters a long time in the third before going to the bench. Then, like I said, Jeremy came in there with a minute 53 seconds left. Then, as soon as Jeremy came in, he played excellent defense against Schroeder and forced him to miss a jump shot. He then had an assist opportunity that was not converted on a pass to Marvin Williams for a turnaround shot from the baseline. Then Jeremy had his first and only assist of the game where he threw the ball into Al Jefferson for a nice little layup. At the end of three quarters, 68-57 for Atlanta. Jeremy now had 6 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. So in that little bit of time, he basically added 1 assist. I will say this as well. Jeremy had a number of unconverted assist opportunities in this game. If I had to put a number on it, I would say maybe around 6 or 7, where Jeremy gave somebody an opportunity and they didn't hit the shot or something like that. Look, that happens. So, but he could have had more assists in this game as well. Now, moving into the fourth quarter, this is where JLin really went to work, and Mr. Fourth Quarter was in full force. Okay? We start the fourth quarter, 68-57 Atlanta. Then Jeremy was fouled very early in the quarter. No shots, so he's fouled on the perimeter. But that helps. The more you get fouled, the quicker the other team gets into the penalty, meaning that you shoot free throws on every single foul. Then he had one of the unconverted assist opportunities. This one was to Jeremy Lamb for a missed three-pointer. Then JLin forced a turnover against Mike Muscala. Basically, Mike Muscala's a big man, and I can't remember, maybe Cody Zeller was guarding him. Jeremy went over and double-teamed him, kind of harassed him, while Mike Muscala was waiting to pass. And then Mike Muscala was a little bit razzled by Jeremy's move, and then he ended up throwing the ball out of bounds because of that. So essentially, Jeremy forced that turnover, and it was a nice play. So, not only Jeremy came in with the mindset, in my opinion, that I'm going to turn it up on defense. And that's what he did. And he also ended up turning it on offense, too. So, like I said, if he got pulled out in the first half for defense, and maybe Cliff said something to him, I have no idea. Now he came in with, okay, I'm going to play defense, and then hopefully I'll finish the game, and which is exactly what ended up happening. Soon after that forced turnover, JLin had his second score of the game. He did a curl play. He was on the left, about maybe 80 degrees left of the top of the arc, standing there in the corner, the way that Charlotte's offense often runs. He came over a screen, I think around Frank Kaminsky, did like a curl, kind of hook. He received the pass when he was coming into that move, and he did a nice little layup on a pass from Frank Kaminsky. So basically, Frank set a screen for Jeremy, and then he kind of handed the ball off to Jeremy while Jeremy ran around him. And it was just a perfectly designed play. And that made the score 70-62. And then Jeremy had what I thought was probably his best play of this entire game. It was just fantastic. Dennis Schroeder was on the right side of the free throw line, facing up the basket. He made a move on Jeremy, got by him, driving to his right, and Jeremy timed him, and he just totally blocked the shot. It hit the backboard and bounced out like 30 feet. I mean, it was just like, boom! The entire Charlotte bench was up, cheering and applauding for this play. And soon after that block, Jeremy got the ball on the other end of the court and dribbled into the right side of the free throw line, a little bit below that, and he pulled up for a little shot off the dribble. So that little sequence, Jeremy scores, Jeremy block shot, Jeremy scores. That leads to an Atlanta timeout, 70-64 Atlanta. And right now, this is Mr. Fourth Quarter. Lin's on a Linsanity roll, and Atlanta is reeling. And so that was just great. Like I said, this team has character. This team doesn't give up, and Jeremy was making his mark here on both ends. And look, I mean, if you're Coach Clifford, you know Jeremy can play defense. So, I don't, who knows? Maybe he's trying to, whatever, motivate him or whatever in the first half. I don't know. But it worked. And now this game was down to a 6-point game. Soon after that, Frank Kaminsky scores. That cut the lead 70-66. Heading into middle of the fourth, Jeremy Lamb scores on a little floater shot, 70-68. So, yes, this lead did get down to 2 points. Then Jeremy got his third foul of the game. Jeff Teague did a pump fake on a shot against him. Jeremy bid on the fake, jumped up in the air. Jeff Teague jumped into him, basically. That was a foul, but it wasn't any free throws because Jeff Teague was going to pass the ball. Then Jeremy had a nice little a hockey assist play. Okay, he passed the ball to Jeremy Lamb. Jeremy Lamb passes the ball to Al Jefferson for a baseline right side jumper. That goes in, 72-70 Atlanta at that point. Then Jeremy had another unconverted hockey assist attempt. He once again passed the ball to Jeremy Lamb. Jeremy Lamb passed the ball to Frank Kaminsky for a three-pointer from the corner, but it did not go in. Then Atlanta comes down on the other end, and they score a three-pointer. And this is where things started to get away from the Hornets. And it's unfortunate. Frank's shot was a bad miss, and it led to Atlanta running out. And they got an easy three-pointer, and then they got another basket, and that made the score 77-70. Timeout for the Hornets with 5 minutes and 43 seconds left. So Jeremy started the energy, started the surge here in the fourth quarter. I believe so anyway. And cut the lead down, but unfortunately the rest of the bench or the team, it didn't quite hold. Atlanta pushed them away to the 7-point lead. And now we had the finishing group on the court. Kemba Walker, Jeremy Lin, Nick Batum, Marvin Williams, and Al Jefferson. So basically 3 starters plus Al, who is obviously usually a starter, except he's getting his knees back right now from the surgery, and Jeremy Lin. Good. And then Eric Collins, the Hornets announcer, said that if Charlotte wins the game, it would have been a historic comeback. I think something like they were down 24 points or something like that. I didn't hear that. Then Jeremy was fouled on the perimeter. No free throws. That was, but again, it helps put Atlanta into the penalty. Then Jeremy had another unconverted assist opportunity. Had a nice pass into Al Jefferson, who then had his layup attempt blocked at the rim. And I don't think Clifford was happy with that. I think he probably thought that Al was tired at that point in time, because right after Al missed that shot, Cody Zeller came in for him. And what I'm trying to say is it was a great pass. And most times, most guys would have made that into a layup. And I guess Clifford wasn't really thrilled about that, or just felt like, okay, well, maybe that kind of shows that Al doesn't have he's tired right now. So then Al Jefferson out, Cody Zeller in. Then Jeremy drives down the left side of the lane, puts a left-handed layup up off the glass. Somebody from Atlanta hit it after it touched the glass. That's goaltending. That makes the score 77-72. Again, Jeremy's continuing his fourth quarter surge here. Then, I think right after that play, Kent Bazemore tipped in a missed Atlanta shot, and on the play, Marvin Williams and Cody Zeller hit heads, like they smacked into each other, and they were both down for several minutes. And it was kind of a little scary. I think they were both okay, but just one of those, just an unfortunate collision there. That came with 4 minutes and 1 second left. And at that point in time, Atlanta, with the tip-in, was up 79-72. Then Charlotte came down. They missed several shots. They were getting offensive rebounds here, so they were working really, really hard. Marvin Williams had a couple of them, I think, but they just couldn't get the ball in the basket again. Then Cody Zeller gets fouled. He goes to the free throw line, and he missed both free throws. And my guess is he was probably still feeling the effects of the collision with Marvin Williams, so that didn't help anything. Missed both shots. Atlanta takes a timeout with 3 minutes and 23 seconds left, and Atlanta is up 79-72 still. Then this is where Jeremy got fortunate on one play. He was on defense. He was guarding Tim Hardaway Jr., and essentially Tim Hardaway Jr. was off in the left corner, and Jeremy kind of came into the paint to help guard the paint, which is part of Charlotte's defensive strategy. However, you still have to get back out on your man. Tim Hardaway Jr. got the pass, and I think Cody Zeller ran out and forced him into not taking a shot. But that could have been a bad thing. And look, I mean, it happens. Nobody plays perfect defense for a whole game, but that did occur. Then, however, Atlanta missed a shot. So Charlotte got the ball back. They came down. Kemba Walker was dribbling down the middle of the court, and Jeremy Lin came off of a screen on the left side. Kemba passed Jeremy the ball, and unfortunately, the ball went through Jeremy's hands. And it was one of those situations, and they actually gave Jeremy the turnover, which doesn't usually happen. Usually the man passing the ball gets the turnover if the ball gets turned over. However, they gave the turnover on this play to JLin, and honestly, I think that was fair. Jeremy turned his head to see where I think Cody Zeller was. He was trying to see who was beside him and how much room he had. So basically, Jeremy turned his head before he caught the ball. Unfortunately, that turnover led to an Atlanta 3, and then they, that led to an Atlanta 3, and then Jeremy came down. He just missed a 3 from top of the arc. He did do the little hop before. Atlanta came down and scored again, and that made the score 85-72. And so pretty much then Atlanta was going to win. I'm certainly not blaming this on Jeremy. I'm just going through everything here. So that little turnover unfortunately led to a 3 and it kind of changed things around. What I liked, though, what was good here, and we have seen this before, was the team knew Jeremy was hot, and they were running plays for him. They ran that particular play to get Jeremy the ball. So not only was Jeremy in with the finishing group, which he earned, they were trying to get him to get shots because they knew he was scoring and he was on a roll. Unfortunately, a couple plays here and there just didn't work out, and they were trying to make a comeback, so it got tougher. But, so, 85-72 Atlanta, still late in the fourth here. Jeremy fouled on the perimeter by Tim Hardaway Jr. Now, that was the third foul of the quarter, which Jeremy himself had drawn. Atlanta was in the penalty. That means Charlotte gets free throws. He made both of them, 85-74. Then Jeremy he got his fourth foul. He fouled Jeff Teague driving to the basket. It was good defense, but he did foul him at the very end. However, Jeff Teague was passing the ball rather than shooting, so no shots. And then he forced a jump ball against Mike Muscala. Mike Muscala had the ball in his hands, and Jeremy just grabbed it from him. And so it was a jump ball. Mike Muscala won the jump ball toss because he's much, much taller. And then he had another nice defensive play here close to the end of the game, and that was about it. So, look, team lost. Jeremy played very well. The team just didn't have it. That first quarter really hurt him. And maybe Clifford should have gone with Jeremy earlier and of course, stayed with him in the second quarter. But like I said, this is one game. The team is still playing well. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games, I believe. Pretty sure of that, yeah. Let's go home and start winning again. And I'm glad that Jeremy finished. I'm glad Jeremy was Mr. Fourth Quarter. I'm glad that Jeremy kind of bounced back from whatever maybe Clifford thought was a difficult first half. So it's hard for me to be mad because what needed to happen happened. They just didn't get the win because they were in too big of a hole to dig out of. And yes, they got the score down to 2 points. What happens is you expend so much energy to come back that then you don't have as much energy left to finish it off. And they made a couple plays here and there that kind of turned the tide. But look, Atlanta deserved to win. They won. Let's move on, and we will move on to the next game. And like I said, I can't wait. I'm just excited to see every game for this team right now because they are playing well, and I think they're where they need to be. And I'm looking forward to the next game, and that's it. That game will take place 2 days from now, Tuesday, March 1st, here in the United States, against the Phoenix Suns, who are a very beatable team, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That means the game will take place on Wednesday, March 2nd at 8 a.m. in the morning in Taipei, Taiwan, and throughout China. So, like I said, I really don't feel upset at all. I'm not. These games happen, especially in a long season. I don't think they were ready to play early on. I think the 3 p.m. start time affected them, and they tried really hard. They dug in. It was too big of a hole. Jeremy played great, particularly down the stretch. And let's move on to the next game. That's it. So let's go beat Phoenix. Let's get back home and let's start winning again. And that's I guess that's really all I have to say. So thumbs up, thumbs down, your comments below. Thanks, Gary Chen, for the artwork you're looking at right now. Gary is an artist and blogger in Taiwan. He's also a member of the Jeremy Only Lin Garden fan group. You can learn more about Gary, and the Jeremy Only Lin Garden fan group if you follow the information for them in the video description below the video player. Also there you will find information for highlights of this game, and finally there you will find information about how you can come and join the Conservative Media Facebook group and how you can come follow us on Twitter. I usually tweet out during the games. Once again, I am PFV Paulette Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't be too upset about today. I know some fans are not happy about Jeremy only playing 8 or 9 minutes in the first half, but all's well that ends well. Things definitely ended up well today for Jeremy. The team lost, but you can't win them all. Let's just be ready for the game in Phoenix, get home, and start winning again, and continue onwards to the playoffs and beyond. So, hope you're having a great night or great day wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. Take care, and we will talk to you again soon. Hope all is well for you, and see you in less than 48 hours.